Jer si milostivi čovekoljubiv Bog i tebi slavu uznosimo, Otcu i Sinu i Svetome Duhu, sada i uvek i u vekove vekova.
In a world of shadows and secrets untold, where primeval stories make the brave go cold, mighty gods on high and realms below, whispers of legends that shape each soul. And nightmarish dreams, cryptids lurking, nothing's as it seems. Giants walking, angels and demons fight. Only truth can bring the light. Through the echoes of time, the tales unfold. Mysteries arise as the prophecies are foretold. From valiant knights to buried treasure, this podcast brings nothing but pleasure. Welcome to myth, mysteries and majesty. Study with us, don't be a travesty. Theology, mythology, fantasy and horror. Dungeons and dragons, Skyrim and Mordor. And Mordor, powers haunt the evening. In gothic castles where they're screaming. Wizards cast spells in their towers tonight, exploiting enigmas hidden from our sight. Archaeologists make excavations deep of the ancient tombs where pharaohs sleep. In the dust of ages we chronicles keep, storytelling's power of monsters that creep. Mysteries and majesty is the place for you to learn about this haunted space. From scholarship to manuscripts of old, unlock the secrets of wisdom and gold.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the episode 96 of the podcast. I hope you like the new intro song. I've been making it for like the last 2-3 weeks, and I always think it needs more and more editing and perfection, but it is what it is for now. I'm just tired of working on it, still because I have other things to do. But when it comes to this episode, I'm so excited that we are getting close to the number of 100. Hopefully that will happen in the next couple of weeks, and I'm very excited about that. Yes. And also we are very close, just a little over 20 more subscribers when it comes to the number 1,000. And I'm very grateful for all of you who are in any way praying for us, participating, commenting, not so much maybe on Fridays, but you're usually on our Sunday sessions. So I thank all of you. Please continue keeping us in prayers, because this is not just a nerdy podcast. It's much more than that. We're trying to present ourselves fully as a YouTube ministry, online ministry that will be hopefully reaching out to many people out there, both now and in the future. With that being said, we miss our co-host Sean. Hopefully he'll be back sometime soon. But we welcome back PJ Boe, because he was so graceful to join us again and take some of his busy schedule. PJ Boe, thank you so much for finding time with us tonight. How is everything with you?
It's going fantastic, man. And I think people just came for the intro song. I don't even think they care about the video game. I told you, like, when you sent that to me, it's stuck in my head, and like I'm in the kitchen singing it. My kids are like, "What are you singing?" And I'm like, "Hold on, let me show you." And it's just, I think you've done fantastic. So
yeah, thank you. Yeah, that song that I made, it's been in my head for a long time, and I go to work. It's in my head. I whisper it. I'm on an elevator. I whisper it. I'm like, the new intro song is seriously in my blood. I have to learn maybe how to even include it as the outro of each episode, but for now that's fine. But yeah, when it comes to the games for the game that we particularly picked for tonight, We came to this title called Dragon's Dogma 2 because it just came out several months ago, half a year ago, roughly. And it's a new so-called hot title. It should be a AAA title. The first game was a big hit, so we are hoping that the second one will be somewhat similar. And we're just enjoying, just like all the other RPG lovers among you. I don't know, will it come to the same level as Crimson Desert or Witcher 3? Probably not, but we're still trying to see, what did the developers did when it comes to this latest title. Until I share the screen, PJ, did you play the first Dragon's Dogma? And if yes, what were your impressions?
I did not play the first Dragon's Dogma, but when this one first, before it went to like actual gameplay, I saw the trailers and stuff, and I was like, man, this game looks fantastic. And that kind of brought me into the lore of Dragon's Dogma. So I know like a little bit of what to expect. I know, and I've also watched reactions and responses to this game as well. So I also know the things that some people were disappointed with and that they wished they would have gone in different directions. But overall, everything I've watched, this is a truly amazing game. And I can't wait to get it if I ever find time to play any of these games. I can't wait to play this game.
Yeah, I don't have much time either. So I'm like, by me reviewing with others, including yourself, all these videos, I'm like, it's almost like I played it. I know it's not the same, but I'm like, maybe I don't have to play every game I review. Just by seeing, I can, there's still some sort of satisfaction. By the way, I always try to say, whenever we share someone else's videos on YouTube, and in this case, it's Shirrako YouTube page, we always invite everyone to go and support their channel and their work, because this wasn't easy to get a game, finish it all, upload this humongous video on YouTube, and just allow it for everyone to be seen for free. So we thank the original uploader, and we always invite people to support their work. That being said, let's start with a video for tonight.
Honored guests, lend me your ears. Long as our Fevrimon suffered, without a true monarch to guide her and her people. Decades have passed since last His Majesty Erland sat atop the Draken throne. Long have we endured, yet it has not been for naught. At last, the bell has tolled on the age of the console. At last, we may celebrate the coming of our rightful ruler. The return of the sovereign.
My word! Such an inspiring visage.
Your Majesty shall have my eternal fealty.
Your Majesty, oh, how long I have awaited this moment.
Behold, Before you sits the rightful inheritor of the Draken throne, chosen by the dragon as its enemy. Behold and rejoice! Fortune has delivered us our Savior at last! At last! Praise be, for only the Sovereign's guidance can lead us true.
Man, I always envision myself being in one of those courts with other knights and holding those swords and those amazing shiny armors. There's something so much noble about that, even though we don't live in those times anymore, but there's something when it comes to me that I crave for castles and knights and swords so much, you know. I don't know if you would resemble the idea.
No, I the same. It's something about the honor, the chivalry, the aspects of your striving just to be everything you can be, and these are your brothers in arms. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think, and I may be wrong, but I think every man can kind of relate to that.
Yeah, especially because they're drinking wine, and here I am sitting at home drinking tea because I don't feel well. It's like, man, I belong there, you know, in a way.
Was he just poisoned?
Possibly.
Now, which one of you was it? No need to be shy. I've just got to take down a record of your name and face. Come on, step forward. Is it you? No? It is hard to say. If the poor, are you the one then? Aha, I thought I recognized you.
So I guess the main character's name is Arisen. It's like, that's not the real name, but that's the name given in the game.
I ill like that look in your eyes. 'Tis queerly brazen for a pawn. Most of your kind have eyes blank as a cadaver's. Mayhap 'tis only natural, seeing as how you rise from the dead. There's aught different about you, though. Could it be that you fear death just as we mortals do? Worry not, vessel. 3 days here, and you'll be longing for death's sweet embrace. Come along.
It's funny how you see all these parallels with death rising in 3 days.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you watched the second and fifth episode on the channel when we started more than a year and a half ago, where when it comes to the harrowing of hell, what was Jesus doing in those 3 days between the crucifixion and resurrection? Man, and we were talking primarily from the church history perspective and the Eastern Orthodox perspective. I had numerous guests, and it was one of those best early episodes I had because I learned so much, and it's helped me see Jesus as even this rider, majestic savior that is usually not taught in evangelical part of Christianity. So you're right. There's so much connection, with those 3 days and death, and what was Jesus doing in those 3 days? Well, his body was dead.
What do you think you're up to, playabout? Get a move on!
I have to say that so far, no other RPG game has beaten Witcher 3 when it comes to the soundtrack. soundtrack
overexert yourself.
in Witcher 3 is amazing. It's
This is
this
no
kind
place
of
for one of your ilk.
ethnic
It is
ambient
harsh beyond
folk
measure.
slash
Even we pawns
folk
are pushed
music
to the
that
brink. You
comes
ought not anger the
primarily from
overseer.
Eastern
Let
Europe,
us proceed to
and
the
it
site.
gets so much aggressive in a good way when you start when you engage in a combat. So we'll see how this game performs when it comes to music.
Yeah.
Twould be
Um,
unwise to
I mean,
disturb
obviously we're Witcher
the overseer
fanboys,
will show you no mercy.
but I think primarily Witcher 3 was the one that actually got me hooked, just because it was such a flawlessly executed game. And yeah, the soundtrack, they know how to enter it, when to enter it, like it. And I've heard some really good soundtracks in some games. Even 12 years ago, Skyrim had an amazing soundtrack. But
By the way, I played it 1.25 speed because the beginning is very slow, so just for that reason.
As soon as my shift's done, I'm off to the tavern.
So the host of this channel is playing the game on Sony. I think he got the free copy from the from the maker of the game, from the publishing company. I couldn't find for PC the version, but it's basically probably all the same anyway. Except that in PC you can get to the full 4K resolution. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What is
Well, I remember from early release, PC had way more problems with bugs than the PlayStation did. And I want to say, I remember people were complaining about the bugs, and majority of the streams that were coming out were for the PlayStation.
Dude, we have Medusa from the very beginning. This is exciting.
You got velvet fiend, even at the cost of your lives. Get me out of here now!
And that is how the heroes are born.
Observe your foes carefully. Attack as the situation demands.
But PJ, I'm confused. If this is truly Medusa, how can they watch Medusa in her eyes and not get, not turn into a stone? So I don't know if this was the flow of the game designers, or it may be just a creature that resembles Medusa, but it's not like.
Yeah. I don't know enough about the game lore to answer that question for you. But I don't know. Like, you saw initially those first people, they were turned to stone, correct? Like when it first came on the scene. So maybe they just weren't looking at her eyes.
Are you unharmed?
You won't flee while you can. After all, your charge awaits you. You cannot linger in this place forever.
Obi-Wan?
You have lost your memories. It is surely the work of a fell.
His clone
Worry not.
from the Clone Wars.
You need only believe in your own destiny, Arisen.
Yeah, his name is Arisen. That's what he's given.
I think it's used more of a title though, instead of a name, because it's what he's capable of. He dies and he keeps coming back like the Phoenix.
It's funny. I don't know if you ever played Gothic series. After Gothic series, Piranha Bytes, which is the publishing company, made Risen. It was like 15 years ago or so, and you wake up as stranded on an island. You can't remember your name, so you're called the Nameless One. That's your name, the Nameless One. And it's so funny because you don't have a name, but people call you Nameless One. So basically, that becomes your name or a title, whatever.
That's funny. Yeah. So I think the biggest complaint that I remember in this game was there was not enough enemies, not enough variety of enemies in this game. And they've already introduced two of the most common enemies that you're going to fight in the game within like the first 5 minutes.
So now I'm thinking, could it be that because the PC version has or had so many bugs, could it be that that's why some, people who are doing gameplay videos and uploading them, could it be that that's why they opted for the Sony PlayStation version?
I think so. I think so. I can't say that's for sure the case. I'm sure there was a plethora of reasons and issues, but I remember there was a bunch of bugs. I remember that they didn't want a fast travel system in this game. So the game only launched with like 2 major fast travel points. And then they released all these fast travel points as a I can't think of that word, but like small payments that you could charge, and you could buy these little fast travel points, microtransactions. Everybody was so mad.
I hate them.
So that was like a huge upheaval about this game, because they gave it as an expansion and then gave you microtransactions to buy all these travel points. And the whole reason, like, they were fighting. The producer was like, "Oh, well, fast travel shouldn't be a thing. The game should be so fun that you don't want to miss anything." And he made like a very fun and arguing kind of point towards that.
Great. Keep your distance, or is it?
Yeah, can't go in the water at all.
But I will not perish. There is a stone not far from here.
Yeah, but it's not fun if you have to go from one end of the map to another one by walking, running, or maybe just using a horse or whatever is common in these games. Like, especially if the open world is so huge, that's just waste of time. No one wants to do that.
No, and that was a huge gripe, and that's why they did those little microtransaction stones. But on top of that, they were like, "Okay, great. You want us to encounter all these things, and you want us to explore the world. But you gave us 4 creatures to fight over and over and over and over. So it's like we're not even meeting new kind of creatures."
See, when I don't know if you ever played Cyberpunk.
Where exactly is this?
I have a ton of hours in Cyberpunk.
I've never heard of such.
I don't even want to look at how many hours I have in Cyberpunk.
So I finished the game probably by the end of last year, right? But I waited until the game was polished. It took it like between a year and 2 to fix all those bugs, at least on the
same. Yeah.
Yeah. So I waited for that version that came out 2.0 or something like that, and they said that everything was much better and smoother. So I'm wondering, could it be that with this game, let's say 6 months from now, it will be much better, bigger, more interesting in that verse. Type of monsters and enemies, more different bosses, more DLCs. I'm just wondering and hoping they will improve the game, because the whole franchise became so popular like a couple of decades ago with the first part. So this will be this will be like them backstabbing themselves if they would ruin this game, because then the audience, the customers wouldn't trust them if eventually third part comes out, or even another game, but a new game from the same publishing company. So they owe to all the customers to patch and improve the game without charging.
Right. I honestly think they will, because just those complaints that I've mentioned, everybody that's complained about all that stuff love every aspect of this game. They still love combat, even though they're still dealing with the same things. Most of them will take like the followers you get, and they'll just throw them in the water, just because they're like tired of hearing them talk. So they just kill them by throwing them in the water. But even with just those little flaws, everybody has loved this game. So I think you're saying, like, if they just released a DLC, gave you some creatures, gave you some just new interesting things to refocus on, I think this is probably hands down probably one of the best games for the year.
And I mean, look at the game. It looks very cool, diverse world building, very nice graphics. Okay, not maybe something that will make you go, oh, like, wow, this is the best graphics I've seen. And again, on PC probably looks much better. But I'm saying so far it looks good, so it will be a pity if they would ruin this and leave it as it is, because the game so far has potential. So, and not every game that comes out has a lot of potential. Maybe, you know how sometimes the programmers and game designers, they're literally pressured by their managers, who are pressured by the customers and audience and the deadlines. Everyone is pressuring someone to hurry up. So sometimes they sell these games as half-ready products. Like, you wouldn't go and sell on the market. You wouldn't sell let's say an apple that is not right. You wouldn't sell it as just became green. You're like, oh, it takes time, maybe in a few weeks. So these game designers, when they try selling games that are not ready, they're either they're probably into some type of a pressure, like, we're losing money, we need to start doing something, hurry, we have deadlines, and this is what happens. Then people get disappointed and they lose a trust into a company. But I think the key is just to be patient and give it some time.
I agree. I agree on all of that. And I think that's kind of what sprung the whole beta testing on Steam, where you have games in like beta test for like 6 years, because they have to hurry up and get the game out and get people hooked. And, oh, here's the DLC, here's the microtransactions, but this isn't actually the actual game that it's going to be. And I think that culture has forced big companies like Capcom to push out games faster than they normally would, because of those facts, that now they're competing on a much broader scale. There's no longer just going to the store and buying a disc. Now you have downloads. So I think they're trying to play that balance.
Should you be arisen, mayhap you'll recall aught of import there.
And I think this game looks fantastic. For its style and its setting, it's not trying to be more than it is. But it's still a highly polished game. Like, you know, like, the people, like, facially probably aren't the best, and the main character, Arisen, he's not as, to me, as polished looking as everybody else, but he probably has more animations, more things that has to go with him. And again, you know, they're probably battling that time.
It's so funny how you're mentioning teleporting yourself to another part of the map, and they just introduced those big stones which serve for that purpose.
Yeah.
You can teleport to some other area.
Yeah, but see, so from launch, they only had 2 of those stones in the entire game. And then that was the DLC, is you get those stones that you can add to other places.
You know, I can understand that if a game is smaller, so if you didn't plan customers to spend so much time, why would you spend years of developing something that you think people can just finish easily or fast, or with a small map and abandon? Like, all that work you spend in years, disappointing customers. I'm not saying every game has to be as long as, again, Witcher, or maybe the original Diablo. You have to spend so many hours every day. No, but I mean, still, like, if I would be making a video game, I would try to make it of a decent length, so people would come. They wanna, even if they finish game, they will want to play again, maybe with different character, and then DLCs. And you cannot charge for everything.
You seem
I know
now
it's in your
tired.
interest to make
Tell you what,
profit,
you can
but
stay
you
here
want to
tonight free
get
of
something
charge.
for free so you
I'll
can
expect
draw
rent
the
from tomorrow
audience,
night.
right? So you have to
My
do
pa
some,
always used to say,
you
"There's
win
naught that a
some,
good
you
night's
lose
sleep
some,
can't
but
fix."
overall,
Not much
it
else
should
I'm
pay off
confident, but you'll
eventually.
find all sorts at a finer inn.
Yeah, I
Ain't
think
on.
in coming from a game design perspective,
Still, 'tis worth
you
devoting
have
yourself
this
to it.
grand idea,
Opens up
and
more.
Dogma already has
You should
their
stop by the
their
inn and know
story
it.
basically.
No hard feelings if you prefer it. There's
So you're
much
like
more
trying to
to that.
tell a story greater than time, and inherently that makes this world enormous. Instead of just trying to bring the scale down, tell a good story, and then, like you're saying, then add on those expansions to finish telling your story.
Okay, so this is the first dragon for tonight.
Make haste. Get yourself to safety.
Okay, now the soundtrack is getting epic. Yeah, the regular sword cannot hurt dragon. We know this from the lore in general. You can't hurt dragon with a mere sword or like I don't know crossbow or long spear. None of that.
From this moment forth, thou art arisen, charge and all.
Can you hear me, sir? Sir, stay with me.
Wait, that wasn't him because the guy lost his heart. This is probably, I mean, he didn't die on the battlefield. That was someone else, right?
No, I think that's him.
Thank
That's the
goodness.
whole
How are you
arisen
feeling?
part.
This is the second
Because
time I've
even
watched
after he was dead, he was opening his eyes on the battlefield, seeing
you. Do not
her
remember?
run back up to him.
Then have you forgotten that you protected
So
me
he
from the
can
dragon's
just
flames?
resurrect?
You withstood
Yeah.
the fire in my stead and were well and truly charred.
How does he live
It was
without heart?
terrible.
I don't
Your
know.
life
I don't know that
forfeit.
part. That's what I was wondering why the
You
dragon
eating of the
consumed the
heart.
heart and then said
You
from
hung
this,
on,
you shall
by
be
some
arisen.
miracle, survived. Arisen? I'm afraid I don't understand your meaning. Does it have aught to do with why you were taken to the castle? They said 'twas so that your wounds could be treated, though I fear you have no memory of this either.
I am of the Border Watch. Someone with arisen-like abilities came to this village, horn in tow. Know you aught of this?
Has he come for you? We are to part so soon, then. Mayhap you will visit me again someday. Till then, take care.
By the way, she's beautiful.
Arisen.
Ah, excellent. You must be the one. You match my soldier's description. I'm glad I found you. The ruler of Vermont, currently convalescing in the capital, became arisen here in this very village. If you claim the same, then word must be borne to the capital. I dispatched a missive before coming here, though I doubt the matter can be settled without your presence. Would you be willing to accompany me to the capital? If you truly are arisen, you will be received with open arms. Oh, but forgive me. I scattered my soldiers in a bid to find you. I would not depart without them. We shall have to wait till they are reassembled. Come to think of it, Sir Leonard was asking after you as well. Mayhap now would be a good time to speak with him. Last I saw it.
What say we gather some information?
Oh, have you some business with the apothecary, sir? Dreadful sorry if I was in your way. Oh, no, I'm not lost or naught, sir. You needn't worry yourself on my account. I'm an apothecary in training, you see.
Okay, so now he's accompanied by Joffrey.
Another statue.
And I have
They
to
had
say
all
how in
sorts
this
of
game
use.
I like
I've
how in
seen no
certain
reason not to
missions,
go see it up
especially
close.
when you're dealing with big bosses, you have these friends. Of course, they're computer friends. I don't know if you can play multiplayer with others. I would only assume that you can. But I just want to say, even when you play with other computer,
Great, follow me.
players who are helping you with missions and big enemies, it kind of feels nice, like in real life. You don't want to feel alone or abandoned, like you're the only one sent to some scary, life-threatening mission, but you have someone like brothers in arms or sisters in arms, doesn't matter. But in that context, like it feels like,
We have
hey,
found a material.
even though this is not the real person,
I'm sure we'll find a
it
purpose
feels
for
like
it in due time.
it helps feeling like I'm not alone. Just with our Christian walk and fights,
I would have
especially when
preferred
we're
not to have to
struggling
fight
or
so
feeling
soon. But at
defeated,
least I know I'm up to
it
the
always
challenge.
helps when we have someone else fighting for us or encouraging us.
Nice, Shirrako disposal.
And I have to say, I like this sort of a helmet, which is like a wolf's or some similar animal's head on the top of his head. It looks so cool.
All creatures who know death cling to life.
Is the mark of a champion to prevail in the weapon sheath.
I really like this scenery. Like through the fog, you see
This will
this
seem of little consequence,
promised
but
land and
who
a
in
whole
this
city
party are wimps that know
fortified,
getting
waiting
through
for
this
you
door?
because you have a big task, big quest over there. And in the meantime, you see these peasants who live in ordinary houses. But even those ordinary houses, they're made so beautiful. You almost desire you can be there and walk on that grass, feel that softness, speak with people, hear that ancient accent. You can see how they're forming and living hopefully blissful life until the enemies and monsters come, of course. It's just these games are not just wasting time. You can actually enjoy it. It can be sort of a therapy. I mean, look at this. You see all
Absolutely.
these,
Look at
you
it,
see
yeah.
all these green. You listen to the ethnic music. It's
A fine place
peaceful.
to harvest some ingredients.
I'm enjoying.
Shall we see if there's aught to be found while we're here?
Yeah, and it makes me wonder, like, obviously they're doing a playthrough.
And we're nearby.
I'm one of those
We will have to
RPG
decide
players
which
that
is
like
most
to
pressing.
explore
We cannot do
everything.
everything at once.
So it takes me like forever to finish game. Like I'll probably beat it, but then I always go back and just start doing things that I wouldn't go straight in. I'd be running to the left and right, check out those squares. Like
Gather round, gather round. Treat your ears as we're tailed by
much good here. Let's try a different tack.
Yeah, see, even this player, I think he's probably to the point where when those little goblins jump out the bushes, he's just like, I've had enough. Let's just get to where I'm going.
Back to your side I go.
Because it was like they happen so frequently because the producers wanted you to have encounters throughout the world because there was no fast travel. But again, when you're fighting the same enemies over and over and over, it gets kind of repetitive, and then in turn can be boring.
Cavern here. Mayhap we'll find treasure within. There's an exciting discovery.
You know what?
But
When
we
I'm
would
seeing
not
that
use
his
our
blade
heads.
is glowing, I'm thinking he either got some magically enhanced weapon, or that lady that is with him in the group, Priscilla, maybe she's enhancing magically because she's like a mage or a sorcerer. She's maybe doing something to improve his weapon. But it looks so cool. It looks amazing.
If no one will do it in my stead, then I suppose I have no choice but to obey.
Reinforcements! When don't we have such resources? Not bad. Nice of you to say so. Splendid.
I thought I'd met my end. My thanks to you, Arisen.
I like the sound effects of the weapons as well.
Magic's Shirrako disposed of.
Yeah, and these the current opponents he's facing, they look so cool, like some ape-like monsters, and they're like really muscular and strong. So I like this, and I think this will be a perfect example of Dungeons and Dragons, right? But also not just Dungeons and Dragons, like you're always going in some underground tunnels and passages, but you also get to enjoy the outside world. So it's like beauty of both. Ooh, that was cool. So you get to see the beauty of both this dark world and the outside in the sun and sky and all that. I like that when I see in games. I don't like when everything is so dark and gloomy and depressing. I like to see the beauty and the greenery in RPG games.
I agree. So one of my favorite games of all time is Diablo 1. You had mentioned that earlier. But it had such a dark feeling the entire game. But I like that. I like even in this dark cave, you know what I mean? Like you now see a glimpse of outside. So you get that moment of like, whew, this is cool. All right, let me get back to the dungeon. And that's visually the only purpose of that. That's just a game mechanic. Like you're doing exactly what you're talking about. Because there's no point for that opening other than to give the player a relief of saying like, look, here's the outside. Take a moment, get back to the dungeon.
It's almost like if you're having spiritual warfare and everything around you seems to be like you're losing. There's no hope for you, and you see that glimmer of Jesus shining in your life, maybe a verse or someone praying for you. You get the breakthrough, and you got energized, just like his weapon and his shield are energized. They're shining blue, and then he goes back fighting again with new energy, with new hope, and it's a powerful spiritual message.
Well said. I like it.
I ought to brace for that.
Honestly, so far the game is really good. So far.
Yeah, this is on my this has been on my wish list for a while.
I suppose your wounds won't heal themselves? Best keep still a moment.
The only thing I'm not a fan of is the stamina while running. And that's just a personal thing. Because I get it from like a combat fighting mechanic. I get it. But like if there's no fast travel in your world and you have to let your stamina catch up the whole time, it sucks.
Yeah. By the way, did you like in The Witcher 3 when they introduced the horse and when you're whistling, it just shows up in front of you? That was so cool.
I like it from a gameplay, but obviously it doesn't make any sense. But I've seen other games include that after The Witcher 3 came out. And matter of fact, I think that kicked back from D&D because the paladin has call steed, which is like the same thing. Like you whistle and a magical steed magically appears for the paladin. So it kind of makes me, wonder like how what people borrow from different places and how the whole RPG world just kind of develops within its same little sphere.
Be ready. Our foes are armed. We have no means of exploiting our enemy's weakness.
Strike with the power of lightning. Like that. I suppose your wounds won't heal themselves. Hold just a moment.
You were mentioning Diablo 1. I played Diablo 1 by the end of probably by the end of the 20th century. And also there was a big hit that came out years after Diablo. It was called Titan Quest. Have you played that one?
Oh yeah.
So what's cool
Quest.
about
Man,
Titan
I forgot
Quest?
about Titan Quest till you said that.
Yeah, what's cool about Titan Quest is they're making Titan Quest 2 and they're almost done. You can see the demo version online.
I want to say I've heard that, but I'll have to check it out. Is it going to be the same kind of gameplay or just something different?
Yeah, Bird's Eye, the old style fashion fantasy roleplay game. Yeah. Okay, I have to say that I don't like how these non-player characters, they're like in your group, they're talking a lot, especially that sorceress. She speaks a lot, and that kind of distracts me because she always talks in the middle of the fight. I noticed that even when they're in those catacombs, in those underworld, she kept talking. I don't like that.
And it's the same quips over and over and over. And like I've seen so many streamers just like with players they've leveled and developed, and they're like, I'm just tired of you, and they pick them up and throw them in the water because of things like that. Yeah. Paladins and WoW. Matter of fact, World of Warcraft just announced they're going to release 2 more expansions, and it's their 30th anniversary.
Wait a moment.
I played World of Warcraft for, oh my gosh, I almost got divorced over that game.
Oh my God,
like
bad.
for real.
Delete the game. Delete, uninstall.
It is. It got to the point where whenever I was like, man, what am I doing? I haven't played the game since, and I think whatever my accounts were at level 80 at that time. I haven't stayed with it since, but I just saw they announced their 30th or 2 expansions.
Man, I just fast forwarded check out what kind of cool armor he has, especially his helmet. I love it.
Yeah. So like I think like historically, like people are always like Viking helmets have horns and stuff like that, but they've never ever had horns. And the only time you really see decorated helms is with during the Crusades when the Great Helm came, and then they put horns and wings and all kind of stuff on those. So I love seeing like all the old historic Great Helms that they could find, that or paintings of them. And that's what that helmet reminds. It's not a great helm, but that's what it reminds me of. I like how the creatures in this game are so unique. Like they might remind you of something, but like they're so far from. Like I don't even know what you'd classify that as.
Like a type of giant, like a furry giant. I don't know.
Yeah, but like even its
Like a
face is
golem?
just weird, and
Yeah.
it's I don't yeah it's giant, but it's bestial, but it's kind of like ape, but not ape. It's just weird. It's very nice. And I like how you can also revive your down people.
The screeching owl, Lilith. That was so cool.
I think that's a harpy.
Yeah, but I mean, in the same family of species, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But that's like one of the main things that are always attacking people. The little, I don't know if they're goblins, but the little grass creatures, the harpies, the golems, and something else. Visually, it's a beautiful game. Mechanically, it's an amazing game. And we haven't seen it anywhere, but you also have a climb mechanic when you're fighting like the big bosses. Like you can literally climb on top of these big people and attack them from the top.
Oh yeah, that's such a
He's doing it right now.
that's such a difficult thing when you're in video games, when you're fighting with dragons or monsters or titans. Like you can't just kill them here. You have to somehow pick them, climb on them, and kill them somewhere here. I've seen that in many games. It's kind of becoming deja vu. I wish they would come up with something different. Like when I was playing one of the Lord of the Rings RPG games, and I had to deal with this huge titan. The only way I could not kill him, but to do him, was to trick him to climb on a sort of a rock, and then jump on him and learn how to aim him. So now you can actually ride the titan and go kill orcs. But it's all the similar technique, like mechanics. I wish they would come up with something new.
Yeah, I agree.
Must you run so fast? I can hardly keep you in my sights, Arisen. More foes? I can
She keeps
scarce
talking.
feel my arm from the
So
last
that's
battle.
one of the negative sides of the game. She just can't stop talking.
"'Tis clear to me that my fate is to aid you." "Ah, but which dragon do you seek?" "The dragon that stole your heart shall appear before you when the time is come. If instead you seek the so-called lesser dragon, you would do well to pay a visit to Dragon's Breath Tower." If 'tis yet another dragon you seek, then perhaps you ought to search for it yourself. Your feet will guide you no less ably than any revelation on my part.
The entire time that guy is just trying to kill you, waiting for you to finish talking.
Yeah, I noticed that. So that was so fun. I don't know if that was bugging the timing of the game, or it was intended to be like that. I don't know.
No, I think it's when you're stuck in interaction,
I can hardly keep you in my
like
sights,
they,
Arisen.
you know, you're basically
Let's endeavor to
invincible.
keep up, though we are less fleet of foot.
Man, I'd just like a nice little lawn chair right there and a campfire.
Yeah, another typical thing in all those RPG games, you always want to go by the campfire when you're like low with energy, you need to recoup. It's like relax now, or maybe even enhance yourself.
Yeah,
And
sometimes
no,
they give you a buff. Yeah,
ooh, okay, another dragon fight. Nice.
that's not the same one, huh? That must be that lesser dragon.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think it's the one that he encountered.
Allow me
first
to
stole
join
his
you
part.
in this trial.
Come, I'll lead the way.
I'm also disappointed there is not someone in his group who has an axe and another one who has an elbow. I mean, not an elbow, a bow and arrow. So I'm disappointed it's not a typical like RPG group. It's like
We cannot expect gleaming treasures.
I don't know. I would just imagine a variety of weapons out there. You know,
Yeah,
just like,
well,
I feel we need.
yeah, but that's his personal choice. That's the player's personal choices.
Oh, do you think he also chose those characters that are following
Yeah,
him?
because you could choose your followers. Yeah.
Okay, we didn't see that part because we were skipping, but that makes sense.
Well said. Our enemies have grown in number. This battle's end is more distant than I hoped. Come in, Master.
You must remain calm, else all will be lost. Tis but a flesh wound, yet not a shame.
'Tis a flesh wound.
We ought to employ lightning against this foe.
If we know its
I
weakness,
don't
we
like
have to exploit it.
the leather straps out of the back of his helmet. But I dig his shield.
I'm enjoying the soundtrack.
Is
Sorry.
there nothing we can do about this obstacle?
If a ranged attack is needed, count upon my aid. Might I be of assistance?
Man, I desire to have his helmet. Seriously, right here on my shelf. Like, look how glorious it looks.
So, like on my end, I could barely hear the soundtrack. You must have it like where you can hear it really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could faintly hear
really
it.
loud. Yeah.
Jeez, look at that growth.
I
on
think
those
I think that his helmet resembles Thor.
Yeah, it's got that feathered look.
Yeah.
Tell you what, like if I saw a dragon that looked like this with all these sores all over it. I don't know if I'd want to fight it.
Oh, this is even a smaller dragon, so it shouldn't be a big deal.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think this guy's the size of one of the other dragon's wings.
My curative magics are at your disposal.
Can you see his guts spilling out? It's so amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I was wondering if that's like acid.
Even if you focus your eyes, strike fast and sure, and our quarry shall fall.
Fear not.
It is a simple-minded creature, by your dear assist. Easy to redirect the focus of our attacks. Understood. Look out, Arisen! We're under attack!
Man, this is so powerful. So good.
Can you imagine how terrifying that would be in real life? You're on the top of, you're like 3 stories up, hanging on a dragon's head, and it's flopping you around everywhere.
From losing its temper. How are we meant to attack it without hindering it?
Okay, that was clearly a bug because you saw him going through the dragon's wing.
Oh, I thought he was crawling inside of his chest for a moment.
Risen, are you all right?
So I think it's regaining its life when it's laying on its side like that.
The beast is its spell success. Avoid it at all costs. Carry them approaching.
Very true, Sean. Very true. They all seem to have the same characteristic when in reality they would probably just like squash you and just bite your head off.
So I think that the last weak point that they have to penetrate is that drawing on the dragon's neck. Because if you notice, on those parts, like right here on its elbow,
Yeah.
whenever they penetrate those parts of the body, and they can kill it. So, but yeah, it keeps getting it keeps getting healed. I don't know how.
Or the rest of you, very all right.
Stand firm and have hope. We will make it through this. Find the fluid its rays, and you will do more than sting.
Be on your guard. Focus your strength, Arisen.
All stamina, middle of a fight.
Yeah, he's getting tired. But that happened to him a couple of times in the fight already, and I don't know if he naturally regains or that sorceress comes and like touches his stamina and he gets killed. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's being revived. Okay.
I am sorry. Thank you, Arisen.
I mean, he's reviving the other part, the other person.
Only in games do we stop to loot the chest instead of, while we're about to die from a dragon.
Hey, what if in those chests is one of the key weapons?
Yeah, it could have been the sword to kill him.
Yeah, in your battle, you never know. Or maybe some mega healing potion.
We are none of us alike in vocation.
Our respective abilities are unique as well.
Let us utilize our individual strengths wherever possible.
Amber, so we're playing Dragon's Dogma 2, which came out several months ago on both the consoles and PC. This is the Sony PlayStation version. So PJ and I were just commenting how the game is amazing, but it has some flaws. So yeah, basically that's it so far. But it looks amazing. As you can tell, the main character, how he's dressed, the weaponry and the armor he got in the meantime, it looks beautiful.
The emptiness refuses to fill. For these beasts are but crude imitations of the dragon true. Sigurd, you're the current Arisen, aren't you? I pray you do not walk the same path as I have. 'Tis a style all my own. A patchwork of techniques, honed for the sole purpose of slaying the dragon.
I'd wager there's ought to be found here.
We ought to take a closer look.
A treasure chest. Oh, I can hardly wait to open it.
Let us hope your curiosity will be rewarded.
I did like how they implemented that. Like your followers can get chests and it just automatically goes to you. This is, yeah.
This will be fun.
Is this Gigantus friend or foe?
I should like to know its purpose. Where is it headed?
I cannot but fear it will bring ruin wherever it treads.
PJ, have you played on Sony Shadow of the Colossus?
Nope.
Okay, well, I don't want to spoil it, but when I saw this coming section of, our hero fighting the coming Titan, it reminded me of the Shadow of the Colossus, because the whole game is pretty much like the scene that we will see soon. So, enjoy. Yeah, he's getting tired, you can hear.
is that? It cannot be! If we do not retreat soon, I fear we are all lost. We ought press on, my lord.
Mine's not the stone puppets, then. We move.
It arose from the sea. What could have summoned it?
My word! What is that? Yon statue appears to be pursuing Lord Phases.
Of course. The answer was staring me right in the face.
I had to speed it up a bit because they still need time until they can fight the Titan. But this whole scenery right here, with all these cliffs and kind of lack of life and everything so misty and gloomy, it just reminds me of Scotland, Ireland, Scandinavia, stuff like that. I mean, it looks dead, but it's kind of beautiful dead. I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, it's like shallow growth that just blankets everything rather than like trees and.
Yeah, it still makes you want to go there and explore, you know. He's probably aiming for that bridge.
Its lumbering frame is riddled with footholds. Should we be bold enough to reach them?
And as fortune would have it, cliffs extend on either side. Shall we try jumping down on it from on high?
Fear not, it is well in hand.
Plenty of places our feet might find purchase on its hulking frame.
And as fortune would have it, cliffs extend on either side. Shall we try jumping down on it from on high?
Understood.
I feel like you should take the birds.
I suppose I could use a moment to catch my breath.
Yeah, the same like with the dragon. I don't think that regular weapon can do anything here, unless you're aiming at a certain
This battle is ours.
targeted points in his body. But like his armor is so big. So
Our feet might find purchase on its hulking frame.
Yeah, so basically the game that I was mentioning, the Shadow of the Colossus, is basically all like this. You have a number of these bosses, they're all giants, and you have to climb on all of them and find those targeted, places that they make them vulnerable and just,
I
try
gotcha.
to kill them, yeah, by doing that until they collapse, and then you go to the next fight, and the whole game is this.
This ends here. Oof, that was close.
And of course, she survived that.
Yeah. Was it supposed to be her catching him, or did she just happen to be next to him?
I don't know, but that seems hilarious in either way. Imagine her trying to catch him and hold him.
So they missed the wound in the eye. Did he get that out, or I saw him hit it once or twice?
Yeah, there is one at the front, so I'm imagining that they'll do with that one later. Or maybe he'll leave them dealing with a heel, and he'll attack him from the front. I don't know. I mean, I did see this part, but not every second.
It's kind of a brutal way to die, huh? Just got squished.
Oh man, he's wasting a lot of time here.
No, ballista. Yeah, he waited way too long for that.
Yeah, he's late. Hopefully he can strike him from the front from this one. Whenever I see ballistas, I think of the Age of Empires.
Yeah, those games were so much fun. It's like I see those games on my phone every now and then, and I'm like, man, like they served their purpose back in the day, but I don't think I would, download them on my phone and play them again.
Dude, they released enhanced versions a few years ago for all three Age of Empires.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. So those are dragon spikes, huh? Is that what he's chopping out of them?
Could be.
See how they look like a horn? Three
Yeah.
shard. Yeah. Maybe that's what the dragon used to animate the statue.
Unless I'm wrong, I think he has one more in his body.
Left unhindered, will trample the
Yeah, I know he had one in his chest and he had one in his head for sure, but I don't know if he got him. Okay, so he still has a bunch. He's got one in his
he had
arm.
more than
Yeah.
one.
I assume it's under like a time limit. I feel like you're trying to stop him before he reaches those people.
Yeah, because once it comes to the fortress, they can't stop him. It will be too late.
Caught you. You'll be all right.
Oh my gosh, he was so close to that one back and he fell.
What are you doing? You're playing like me. Stop.
For real, he's supposed to be more experienced.
I'm sure there's some kind of physics at play, like when you're at certain angles that you hit the joystick the wrong way and you're like, oh.
Yeah, but see, because the creature is actually not alive, it's not even fighting them. It's not even aware of them. It just has its own goal, mission. That's how it's programmed, and it's just going that way. It doesn't care about anything else because it's not even aware.
Yeah. And so I feel like we saw him climb up the guy's back leg. So I don't understand why he's trying to get high ground to jump off, and maybe it's just to try and skip time. But I also feel like you're wasting time when you could just do that. Oh yeah, see the physics at play? That's probably why. You have to anticipate.
Yeah, he got knocked down. Yeah, when the creature is falling down or bending because of the gravity, the character also falls down.
Ooh, getting close. Oh, he took out. That was. Yeah, see, I think he's trying to not fall.
Or maybe he's looking what to do next,
There was still one in the eye, though, wasn't it? Or he got the one in the eye?
I didn't see anything else left in front.
Yeah, and we still have yet to see a health mechanic. So it's like, what are we doing?
Not my words, he shall see it stop.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I think the helmet's the only thing that's still spewing something, but I don't know. It does look like everybody's targeting the belt, so maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah, I think they're targeting that right side from the Titan that is glowing red. Because maybe he's most vulnerable over there.
To the chest. I shall take a look inside.
Speak to me another time. I'm on duty.
Just trying to figure out what to do, lady.
It seems like the giant is done.
It's not how we use this, but when that counts. I imagine it would be most beneficial in combat.
Yeah, I mean, it's not moving for sure. It was just very anticlimactic. Yes.
Okay, I'll let this part
The result of
ends,
volcanic
and then
activity,
I'll
I
fast
expect.
forward to another
Remain
one.
focused.
And after
A
that, it's
clouded mind
just
shall
the
serve
ending
you
of
all
the
your
game, and
knowledge.
that's it. Okay, so they're entering the tower now. Okay, so maybe the giant was, was done.
It would seem the stone puppet has stopped. Have the wounded been tended to?
Yes, my lord.
Good. I trust you are prepared, Sovereign of Vermont.
Will it really be all right? I'm not about to be charred, am I?
Fear not. You are in no danger.
Dismantle the world's will, just as I do. Yes, dost thou know what awaited the world should it meet such a fate?
So I fast forwarded like an hour, and what we missed is that in one segment of the game, he's fighting this dragon, and I think it's the same dragon from the beginning, and now he gets to ride it. So. This reminds me when Jesus said that he saw Satan falling down from the sky, right?
That is literally what was going through my head.
No, stay away.
Pray. Turn back.
Leave now.
And the parallel of the same thing God did was sacrificed himself.
You have strayed, and for what? Lest you forget. You have a world where you belong. There, you are to fell the great evil in your path and rule the people as their sovereign. For that is who you are. and it is my wish that you should live out that life of purpose. The time has come for you to return. Go. My children shall see you there safely.
Let us go home together.
Oh, there's the beautiful girl who was healing him from the beginning of the game, right?
To a world all your own.
It's all of them. Look, that was the guy in the very beginning. Yeah, they're all lies.
This is your will. Then behold, a world unmerciful, bereft with the benevolent hands of gods.
I feel like all of this was just the beginning, you know?
Yeah, this is a 12-hour video. They're like 11 hours in, and you just got to the title screen. Goodness.
Isn't it strange? But this is your world, the world to which you longed to return. Alas, if only you had chosen to become sovereign. At the end of your travails, you could have ruled over these lands in perpetual peace. Yet that world of limitless possibilities has ended. You stand now upon its remains, the vestiges of a world that could have been so much more. Innumerable wills assert to deliver this world from extinction time and time again. You alone have refused to carry out that great purpose. What you see before you is the consequence of your apathy. Behold.
So I don't know if this entity is like a prophet or a false prophet. I'm yet to see that.
It makes me wonder if the player took a choice and kind of like take a choice to see what it turns out to be, and then go back and fix it.
As 'twill ne'er be read, this world will soon cease to exist. In the blink of an eye, the sickle of oblivion will reap aught that you have known. I would advise you not to waste these last moments. Explore the remnants of this world.
Well, yeah, in the section which I skipped just before he starts riding the dragon, he fights the dragon and defeats, and the game ends by him sitting on the throne. But then he loads and continues. So I guess there's the second option or another way.
Yeah, that's what I figured with the alternate ending. Yeah.
And that throne, even though it's not really impressive, reminds me of the Game of Thrones. I don't know.
I think it's because it's got so much. It's so involved. I kind of, yeah. It's like Game of Thrones with organ pipes.
How will Sir Hugo fare out in the world in his loathsome? It pains me that we could not aid him in finding a better path. 'Tis loathsome, being the bearer of such ill tidings.
I do like that they invested so much into an alternate ending that it's like a completely different gameplay. Like the world is different.
But check out how the world wasn't that ugly or dead. We see a lot of green scenery, and when he chose to say no to that entity, like I said, true prophet, false prophet, I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, look how the
It's like a hell landscape.
Yeah, the world
just,
like
void of life.
Like some parallel, reality where it's like, dude, you're like you said in hell, or one of the passages that lead to hell.
Yeah, right. So just a gameplay mechanic. I am one of those people, like that helmet is hideous. And I will use a worse gear so I don't look like a toon walking around a game. So I do that so much where I like a certain aesthetic and I'll stay with that for as long as I can because I like it, even though the gear is not as good as what I'm getting.
Become of the world. Would that there was someone who could
Honestly, when
explain this madness.
when he had that helmet with two
To
like
think of it,
those pointy
did
things
not
like
Sir Rafael
Thor,
speak of
it
releasing the
looked
world from its
phenomenal.
bonds in the Seafloor Shrine? If this is indeed the world
But I
unbound,
guess this one is more
then perhaps we ought to
powerful,
seek
even though
out its
it's
wisdom.
ugly.
Yeah, I like the games where you can like, well, in World of Warcraft it was called transmogrify, so you can wear
Whatever I'm at to do.
any gear that you equipped, but no matter what you put on, you would always look like whatever gear you selected. So I like when games kind of incorporate that.
I've seen better days, that's for sure.
But I like the idea of just picking up random gear for sure. But I wouldn't walk around with like, I don't know, a disco ball mask on my head.
We cannot allow this to come to pass.
It's hilarious. Disco ball.
You're the Arisen. I? And here I had taken you for dead. I am to inform you that Lord Phasis requests your presence at the Forbidden Magic Research Lab. As to whether you heed him, I care not.
Not say no to a cute hero.
Where to now? Would that I knew more of this world. If this experiment were to fail.
Where's my comb? In a rat state.
I'll be lost in this maze. He played
Me-
this God knows how many times, so he
I
knows
was
where.
I was thinking that, but then it occurred to me that he's not using his stamina anymore.
What has become of the world? Would that there was someone who could explain this madness. Come to think of it, did not Sir Rafael speak of releasing the world from its bonds in the Seafloor Shrine?
Ah, Arisen. You yet live.
He's like
I
disappointed.
suspected as much, given that your pawn still remains. One might hypothesize that your pawn is sustained by your vital essence, or perhaps something more. In any case, we ought to apprise one another of the situation. Is there aught you would know? I found the poor creature collapsed by the wayside near Batal. Recognizing your pawn, I decided to take the ailing thing into my custody. I thought it possible that the Arisen's pawn might hold the key to making sense of all this madness. Alas, try what I might, your pawn will not wake. Mayhap you will succeed where I could not. The pawn is, after all, yours to command. Indeed, then I shall take my turn. In your absence, I had hoped your pawn might yield me some information. But as you have returned, I would hear the truth from your lips. Tell me, Arisen, what became of you this past month?
Disco ball.
So following your plunge into the sea on the dragon's back, some mysterious presence reached out to you. Could that have been the World Forged? Yet why would such a being linger in those fathomless depths? I can only speculate. And speculate I shall. This ought to prove a fruitful avenue of investigation. For that, I thank you. Now, if you can find a way to end this interminable slumber, your pawn is, of course, free to rejoin you.
Oh, Master, how long I've slept? Far too long, it seems. But where?
This is just out of, I don't know. It feels like that conversation went out of its way to not say she or her. I don't know if that's because you could choose if your pawn is a male or female, but it just one more, one more thing to push agendas rather than.
It is no small wonder that Oxcarts have seized operation in this state of things.
So by the way, these are the last 20-25 minutes of the game.
I'm about to say, very parasitic looking dragon.
We must challenge and defeat it all the same. Fire must be put out to bring our comrades out. Appearance of magics are at your disposal. Look right there. Prepare yourself. Bring an opening. Focus your attack. Strike fast and true, and our quarry shall fall. Lightning is its weakness, and your strength. We have no means of exploiting our enemy's weakness.
I love the transformation as they destroy the parts they need to.
Whatever it is you need, I shall gladly.
The great serpent of old.
Right. Before when he was high and mighty, and then after when God took his legs. The lightning effect is really good in this game.
I am sorry. Do not give up hope. The bead moves nimbly by creating strength. Try to keep regulating at all times. Mayhap if we follow close behind it, we can find a way to get out of this advantageous position. Come. That's it. Now's the time to strike. Strike fast and true, and our quarry shall fall. Forgive me for being a burden, Risen.
And I like how they include the wingless dragon, just because you also get that mythology, you know.
Honestly, it's more powerful than I expected it to be, because if you look at the size, you're like, yeah, it shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, well, they were, again, just like when they fought that little dragon, like they were going, oh, it died. They were going through his health so quickly, and then it refilled. Like, that's, I don't know what the healing mechanic, or if they destroy what they need to, and now they have another target, so it's like back to full, so they have to take that target out, then it goes to the next target. I think that's kind of what's happening. But they do such a good job of just how you stay in combat in this game. Like, you don't have to chase this thing around the board. You just latch onto it and go for a ride with it.
But did you see how it's getting more and more skin growing on it? So I don't know if that means that it's losing more energy and getting closer to die, or if it means something else. Or it's like maybe turning into something different.
Possibly. So, like, I feel like it had like a crystal or something embedded in its head, and I feel like you were kind of draining that power that it has, but maybe not. Maybe it's like you're saying.
I think it's turning into the dragon because it started blowing fire, and it wasn't blowing until a minute ago. So the more it started growing on the flesh, it started growing more, the outside skin. It's transforming more into the dragon, and even though he took that kind of heart, like that fiery heart from the dragon, now it's being revived, like restored. That's what I'm thinking, and then that will be probably the final boss when it's restored, regenerated. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it's doing something for sure. Like you just said.
Man, that fire tornado is so beautiful.
Yeah. Now, this is a very stunning game. It's very visually, like the spell effects and stuff like that are very well done.
And it's good they're trying to cut off the tongue, because we know how crafty and good in lying the snake is. Very good to deceive and lie people, right?
Amen, brother. Amen. Take that thing out. Take the tongue out quick.
Just cut the tongue out. Oh, they killed it. So I
Yeah.
guess that wasn't the final boss.
Yeah. Yeah. And he just leveled twice. Oh, no, that's two different people.
The sky glows red with fury.
He just randomly carries a person. Nice.
Yeah. That's the first time I've seen it do it in this game. Does he throw her off the water?
We seem to have a ride without issue.
Taking this girl somewhere else. Yep, just throw her down.
Shall we get some rest then? Good morrow, everyone. Come, we've much to be getting on with.
Dude, his
Feeling
final
rested, I
helmet
trust?
looks epic. With horns, spikes.
What my smoke?
I have to say, even though we skipped a lot, the game doesn't seem too long. So I'm wondering what happened with all the side quests, like in most RPG games. It's like, are you telling me you were developing this game for years and people can finish it in less than 13 hours? It doesn't make sense.
I don't think so. When it looked like, see all that purple? That's all undiscovered. So this is a map. Oh, this is the dungeon. I think this is below. Yeah, I don't know. I maybe it was like a speed run.
I'd have preferred not to have to fight so soon, but at least I know I'm up
I mean,
to
the speed runs are usually
Unless you
1 or
want to
2
get
hours, but this is like 12 hours and the whole game is over. Like, I don't know. Like, you have games from 20, 30 years ago, they're like, still takes you longer. I mean, for God's sake, when you mentioned Diablo 1 took you almost like a month to finish. So I don't know. I'm confused.
It was a while. Couldn't tell you how, because I didn't play it straight through, but yeah, you're right. but also games were a lot more unforgiving back then. You know, you didn't
I
have
just had a thought.
unlimited
We've encountered
spawns. You
all
didn't
manner
have
of
like,
people.
oh, I just died in the
And
middle
many
of
times have we been hard pressed.
whatever. Let me spawn back. Some games you didn't start back with your gear. You had to go find it again. Like, but I would imagine like you could probably spend a lot more. You could probably spend probably 12 times the amount he spent beating the game of just exploring it and doing side quests and stuff like that.
This is such a waste of time for them not
Restoration and
introducing
reinforcement are the
horses
purview of a mage.
or any
You'll be
other
safe.
transportation means. Like,
I'll
this
take
is
that.
such a waste of
We might
time.
find a use for it.
I had to put 1.5 speed until they start encountering something, you know, at the end of the game. This is just a waste.
It is a fair reward. We cannot complain. We
Kind of
cannot
looks
expect
like
any
a
treasure to
medieval
have everything.
Batman from the back.
I think I will pay the game designers just to make that character not speak very often.
A ballista
I think she can't.
is a ranged
stop
weapon. This could grant us an edge in battle, if we use it well.
But see, he's not even stopping to see those creatures that are falling down to fight with him. So it's like, I don't know. Like, are you even experiencing the game to its full quality?
No, that's because that's the same creatures you just fight so much. It's so repetitive that people just get tired of fighting it and they just skip it. And then when the developers realize that, that's when they put the expansion in with all your microtransactions.
Yeah, like we're gonna fix and do what you asked us, but you have to pay for them.
Methinks these climbs are ill-suited to habitation. It is a lonely place, to be sure.
Oh my god, the Titan is alive. He's not dead.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't see that coming. That woman just went into its head and animated it.
Behold, it moves. But what impels it?
I don't know who to
I
cheer
cannot
for.
say.
Honestly, the giant or the
Go
serpent.
forth, tell us. May you strike down any.
I think your people possessed the statue thing.
Get poised to attack us. Let us keep watch for the time being.
I could be wrong. I don't know. But again, if this is the final boss, it kind of
Freshly rested,
sucks that
y'all.
it's the same thing you just fought. After your 12 minutes of running to it.
They killed each other.
I see you do not relent. Your persistence is most intriguing. What is it that impels you, I wonder? Alas, would that the world had not come to this. For I am certain that your tale would have been a glorious one. Yet, 'twas not to be. You need only cast your gaze upward to glimpse the futility of your defiance.
Lo, a ballista. This could grant us an edge in battle, if we use it well.
I was about to say when that, like we said, false prophet, whatever spirit asked him, what is it that keeps him going on? I was about to say it's faith. Yeah, sure, because it's a video game. It's not faith in
What's our
God, but
first
it's
order of business,
faith that
really?
it can be better. It's hope. Like I want better life for myself, for my people. I have faith that like I can conquer or at least contribute in defeating this evil. It's that primeval desire in all people, especially men, like working for and fighting for righteousness. And because he embodies this knight, right? That's like that's his goal. It's like there's no going back. It's like no, you're in this fight till the very end. So yeah, that was a good message.
Yeah, I like. And then the dragon emerges and restores.
But see, the ending came, and it's like, I mean, I wouldn't tell it's the end of the game because it doesn't make sense. I would expect it to go further than this. It's really a short game, so that bugs me a lot. The lack of, diversity of monsters is not really big, and also that annoying female voice. So I would say these are like the biggest flaws of the game. But visually, and when it comes to atmosphere-wise, the game is amazing.
Time seen worlds uncountable created, only to be snuffed out like candles by the cold breath of oblivion. Eventually, the great wheel tired of existence. It sought to overturn oblivion by granting unto it a role, a duty, an identity.
I'm not a fan of the programming list and all that in the final scene. It's unique. It's kind of weird. It's kind of neat, but it visually takes away from the answer.
Yeah, I wonder if by the end of these credits, he'll just kill the dragon and that's it.
Chosen to form a part of this cycle. The arisen is selected by the great wheel to play the role of the dragon's counterpart. That is how this world is built. The dragon sets a continuous cycle, and the arisen exists.
Okay, so basically they're balancing the universe.
They're
Same
yin
thing
and yang. Yeah.
Yeah, or like when we did the episode on Galactus and Silver Surfer, they had to balance.
Yeah.
Or Galactus is also balancing the universe when it comes to real bad entities. He's not bad, he's just following his hunger.
Mhm.
So I guess,
This means that
I
should
don't know.
even one of these characters stray from their cycle, the tale entire.
I mean, both the dragon and the knight, even though they're killed a couple times, they keep living. So it's like, is that basically your message in this world? Like, is that the premise that you can make more sequels? Or it's like you can definitely kill evil, you can definitely kill good, because it will keep repeating. Maybe not the same shape and form, but maybe it will be embodied in someone else. Like, does that fight have an ending? You know, it's like, I mean, I see their philosophy, but I'm not overly impressed by it.
Yet on the left of the track, that is the next.
Tis clear to me now, Arisen. I am no longer a mere vessel. Your great will has imbued me with a lesser will of my own. Will is power. Tis the means to shape the world as one desires.
That's the same girl that was thrown in the dungeon. If he set free from that wizard.
Yeah.
And I wonder if it's the same girl that was killing him when he died first. That beautiful girl.
Fades. This tale's end has been unwritten. My heart, it aches. A new world comes. A new tale is set to unfold. Yet, it seems I will not be there to watch it.
Okay, 4 more minutes of credits. I think we can use this time to summarize what we saw. PJ, can you tell the audience what you liked and what you didn't like when it comes to the game?
Visually, the game is a masterpiece. Now, apart from, I'm not totally in love with the main character's like aesthetic, but I like his armor. I like how all that can be changed visually. The environment, the spell mechanics, all the lighting, all of that is beautiful. The combat mechanics and how you use your followers and how you can change followers throughout the game, I love. I don't like how the game is so repetitive, and I know we skipped a lot, but like all the boss fights are kind of the same. All of the creatures that you fight throughout the game are kind of the same. So while it keeps you kind of engaged, it also kind of gets tedious and boring because you're doing the same thing over and over and over and over, and you're grinding, but there's nothing to grind. I think I would like to kind of know the story a little bit better and see if his choices actually made sense, because to me, like, the way it ended was kind of lackluster. Like, the story's over, a new world's going to be created, and I'm not going to be there. Well, okay, but what does that mean? Like, what did we just undo? What did we just set into motion? Is this going to be better than what we just took out of the world? And that's kind of a reflection, from a Christian and a spiritual standpoint, that we're always trying to battle an enemy, and we're always we're looking at the puzzle piece and trying to fix that and not looking at the big picture. So, haha, I conquered this. And all of a sudden, 30 new problems unlock because you didn't let God say, like, no, I have the big picture in mind. Let me fight your battles. I know what's going to happen. Instead, we kill our biggest dragon and no telling now what we're going to face against because we took it in our own hand. So I don't know. I'm intrigued. I still want to play the game. I obviously they set it up for Dragon's Dogma 3. So
Yeah, you forgot to mention one of the negatives, the disco ball. That was your pet peeve. and for me was that sorcerers that couldn't stop talking for
the entire game. Yeah.
2/3 of the game. Like, dude, just shut up. Like, I understand if you need to give me a tip, but like she will be like complaining also and just talking to herself. No one in the group would talk to her. It's like, just be silent. Yeah, for me it's also like similar, like the length of the game, the ending, and also like, I mean, you can tell that the game designers are gifted. Otherwise, they wouldn't create some of the most amazing enemies like that shadowy entity, like that was like a half boss in that rocky environment that was attacking. Like it was a little bit shadowy, a little bit like ape-like, a little bit like whatever. We couldn't discern. So the game developers are gifted, like it's undeniable. But my question is, why didn't you make the game longer, and why didn't you introduce more amazing creatures and monsters like that? Just like that would be maybe not 10 out of 10, but easily 9 out of 10 game. That will be a game that people will talk about for years. But this seems like seriously, like we just played chapter 1, even though it's 12, 13 hours long, but I feel like this was chapter 1. There should be a couple more chapters in the whole game. That's how I feel like this is just one end of the story of the gameplay, but no, that's it. So I wish they waited for 6 or 12 more months and just expand the game and make it more interesting. I'm looking forward in the future if they fix some of those things with the coming DLCs. And yeah, I mean, so far, yeah, when it comes to the atmosphere and graphics, I would play the game, especially if you can play with someone. Like, let's say we're playing together, right? That's like so exciting in any game you can play. But when it comes to the ending, I saw how the game ends. I'm like, well, was this worth fighting? Like, you basically don't know what happens, and it's like not. It's basically not over. It's over, but it's not over. It's like one of those bad horror movies that you don't know what happens, but that's it. You're just left to discern or take the ending as in the way that you want to, and someone else may understand in a different way. And like you said, yeah, that's like butterfly effect. I killed the dragon, but like, what happens after that? Did I unlock or do something bad? Did I trigger something maybe worse? Like when Galactus's herald, Silver Surfer, thinks he can stand on the way of Galactus. He's given wisdom later to discern that actually Galactus serves its purpose to prevent greater evil. So it's like, well, it's not good for us to stop completely Galactus, right? So it's like, but what happens if you do that? Like, again, it's that butterfly effect. What can happen? PJ, last question for tonight, and then we're done. Why would you tell people, Christians or non-Christians, doesn't matter, why should they play fantasy role-play games? Tell us the beauty, the amazement, the excitement that you feel when you play any fantasy role-play game.
Well, as a Christian, we also get opposition for this stuff, even within our own Christian beliefs. And I foremost like to tell people that we are created in God's image and likeness. And God is the ultimate creator of imagination, of everything you see, God has created. That's exactly how we are. We, at least, how I enjoy the things I like to create. I like to imagine. I like to do things. I like to be like my father. I'm not trying to replace him, but to me, I'm complimenting, like, thank you for this wonderful imagination. And even though my little world might not be real, like, my inspiration has come from you. whether I knew it or not, because everything in my entire life that I have seen has been influenced by you, whether I knew it or not. So when I get to fantasy, I grew up on fantasy, and it helped me escape the uncertain aspects of my life. So like I had a rough childhood, and fantasy was where I can go to escape reality, but still be based in reality. Like, you know, I know I'm not physically going anywhere, but I'm allowed to read a book and kind of transport myself there and live through those characters. And we do that with everything in life. With it, when somebody's telling you a story, if you're there with a friend and they're going through a hard time, you empathize and relate to those people because you're putting yourself in that person's situation. And you can now relate to those people, and you can now understand from their perspective what they're going through. It's the same thing with fantasy. And in my, obviously my home profession of building games, I can use that setting to enrich people, to break out of their shell, to help them see the world in lights that they normally couldn't see the world, or to understand even the gospel when they were struggling with real world and not understanding how things work. And when you take and you put God into anything you do, he just shines through. You can't stop God. Like, he shines through no matter what. So all our inspiration comes from him, and fantasy to me is just the ultimate expression of my imagination.
Man, that was beautiful. I hope you include those intro words in some of your, in those PDF files, in those gameplay rules and introduction to your, role play games that you're making, and those rules and everything. Maybe give introduction like that. Hey, why am I doing what I'm doing? Because I'm a person of faith, made in God's image, and through, by using my gifts that God gave me, I'm building this so that you can see the beauty that even resembles the unseen beauty, uh, for the one who made you. And by the way, he loves you so much. I'm not saying you should put this way, but the way you just told the audience and myself, man, I feel like you should do some intro word or some, like, or I dedicate my work to the Lord.
I do.
Because,
yeah. And so I have a note from the author in every setting, and every setting's a little different and explains kind of why I made this setting. So I might not have eloquently put it here better than I did in the book, or the book might be terrible how I wrote it. I don't know. But I try to get that message across, and try to be upfront with everybody. This is why I'm doing this. And, despite my own shortcomings, this is what it is.
Yeah, I made this episode with you despite all my shortcomings. I said elbow instead of a bow. I said I made some mistakes. These things happen, and despite everything, God uses us, and that's amazing. PJ, thank you so much for joining me for tonight.
Thanks
God
for
bless
having
you,
me.
your ministry, your work, your family. I'm just going to read Sean's post before we log off. Fantasy theology, unfettered by reason. That should be on t-shirts, Sean.
T-shirts.
How come you
stealing that.
didn't do this? Like, shame on you to come up with something at 2 hours and 15 minutes when we're done. Okay, remember this. So hopefully when you join us next week, we can get to talk more about fantasy being theology unfettered by reason. Yeah, like I said, PJ, thank you so much for your time for tonight, because I wouldn't like to do episodes like this by myself. It's not fun. May God bless you, and and prosper you in all your visions and ideas that you have for your work, because it's very exciting, and hopefully one day we can get to play it online and
It's going to be
just
soon.
enjoy, in what God has put in your heart. That being said, I would just ask everyone to please subscribing and liking. We're very close to 1,000, and we'll see you this Sunday at 7 p.m. I think it's 7 p.m. Maybe it's 6 p.m., but I think it's 7 p.m. where we'll be talking about supposed archaeological evidence of some vampire tombs and skeletons found in Eastern Europe. So that will be fun. God bless and see you soon.